Happiness seemed so real. I felt loved, protected, and dignified, and had big plans for the future of my family and my people. Then it all changed, in an instant, just as the sun sets under the horizon. The love of my life, my husband and king, was no more. And everything got dark. I was born to a noble family of Iceni tribe. Yet my fierce soul was untamed. My days were spent amidst the untamed landscapes, where the wind whispered secrets only I could hear. With a heart unbridled and a spirit unchained, I roamed the lands, like a blazing comet of strength and independence. I had a warrior's heart, yearning for its destiny. When I married Prasutagus, a chieftain of Iceni tribe, I found in him not just a husband, but my true confidant, partner in strategy, and the anchor that grounded my fiery spirit. In the heart of our home, nestled amidst the rolling hills and ancient forests, we found solace in each other's arms. Behind closed doors, the warrior queen shed her armor and let her guard down, revealing a vulnerability reserved for her beloved Prasutagus alone. We would talk long into the night, our conversations a blend of dreams, plans for our people's future, and the simple joys of life that we cherished together. In the quiet moments, free from our royal duties, we would steal away to secret spots, where the wind whispered through the trees and the world seemed to stand still. These were the stolen moments of tenderness, where the touch of hands conveyed more than words ever could, and the depth of our love was painted in every stolen kiss. Then we celebrated the miracle of life. When our beautiful daughters were born, our happiness became even more. Our eldest daughter, Isolde, a beacon of wisdom and strength that was shining bright even in the darkest of hours, took after my beloved husband, and when I looked at her face, I saw her father's eyes, which would bring me comfort in the future. And our younger child, Seora, was a whirlwind of energy and joy that dances through life. Her boundless curiosity and unyielding spirit reminded me of the fire that burned within her mother. Her laughter was a melody that lifted our hearts. Our region was under Roman occupation at the time. My husband, having good diplomatic skills, made it possible for us to rule the Iceni people on behalf of the Roman Empire, avoiding resistance, but, at the same time, preserving our independence to the degree where both sides could be benefited. By means of Prasutagus' diplomatic strategies, Iceni people enjoyed some peace during the time of his rulership. Then my beloved husband suddenly fell ill, and nothing seemed to help him get better. Feeling the end was near, he did a very Roman thing, to make sure our daughter's future would be protected, and our people's future would be safe. Prasutagus left his written will, where half of the estate he left for our daughters, and the other half for the Roman Emperor Nero. He did it with a heavy heart though. Of course, he would have preferred to have preserved his family patrimony in full, but he expected that, by leaving a half to the emperor, the remainder would be preserved. Then he was gone forever. Words cannot describe the pain I felt in my heart when my beloved left us, but I knew I had to be strong for my daughters and for my people. Little did I know that my time to grieve was not meant to be long. They invaded our land out of the blue, like wild animals, catching us unprepared early in the morning. They burst into our house, dragging me and my daughters outside. They tied me to a pole and whipped me with unspeakable cruelty until I fainted. And my daughters, these innocent young souls, my reason to live, were brutally mistreated by the soldiers in front of my eyes. The kingdom and household alike were plundered like prizes of war. The Icenian chiefs were deprived of their hereditary estates, as if the Romans had been given the whole country. Our own relatives were treated like slaves. All the money, that had been given to us previously by the Roman Emperor Claudius, was taken from us. The attack was initiated by the Roman procurator Caius Decianus, as a reaction to Prasutagosa's last will. If you could lick my heart, while I am telling you this, you would get poisoned. There was nothing left inside of me, but the desire to take revenge, to destroy them, like they had destroyed our lives, to burn them down to ashes, whatever it would take, even this ruined life of mine. For all the humiliation they made us suffer I will repay. The vengeance is mine. For the sake of her family, for the sake of her people, the Queen of Brits will fight till her last breath. My preparations began by gathering a coalition of various Celtic tribes, who were discontented with Roman rule and eager to resist their dominance. We built alliances and established a united front against our common enemy. Caius Decianus was not just brutish and nasty in his behavior, but also irredeemably stupid. After a long period of peace in which Roman interests had thrived on our land, he immediately made implacable enemies of Iceni's sizable tribe in an important area of southeast Britain, and it was to spread. Further, I sought personal revenge, and it was not difficult to garner the support of the Iceni people who had likewise been dispossessed and humiliated. The neighboring Trinovantes had their own grudges against the Romans. Sometime earlier, the Romans had appropriated the Trinovantian settlement of Camulodunum. The Iceni and the Trinovantes comprised an army of 120,000 men. Before setting off to the battle, I called upon our goddess of victory, Andraste, to aid my army and protect my warriors. Our first target was Camulodunum. At the time it was a Roman colony for retired soldiers. The fortune seemed to be completely on our side. Once the revolt had begun, the only Roman troops available to provide assistance, aside from the few within the colony, were 200 auxiliaries located in London, who were not equipped to fight my army. To our advantage, the main Roman forces under the command of Suetonius Paulinus were engaged in a campaign against the Druids in the Isle of Mona on the other side of the country. We captured Camulodunum, and those inhabitants, who survived the initial attack, took refuge in the temple of Claudius for 2 days, before they were killed. Caius Decianus, who had provoked our rebellion, fled abroad to Gaul, like a coward. My army wiped out the entire town and its people, Roman and British alike, who at the time numbered around 10,000. We had not extended our mercy to any living creature there, including women, children and animals. We had no interest in taking the Roman population as prisoners, only in slaughter by gibbet, fire, or cross. Camulodunum was burnt to the ground. To celebrate our victory, we had great banquets, and brought sacrifices to our goddess Amidst in sacred places. Having taken revenge within our own territory, my army next turned its sights on Londinium on the Thames. The town did not rank as a Roman settlement, but was rather a prosperous trading port, which was of great importance to Romans. Suetonius, who was leading a campaign against the island of Mona, off the coast of North Wales, on hearing the news of the Iceni uprising, left a garrison on Mona and returned to deal with us. He moved quickly with a force of men through hostile territory to Londinium, which he reached before the arrival of our army, but, outnumbered, he decided to abandon the town to us. We burned it down after torturing and killing everyone who had remained. After dealing out with Londinium, my army moved on to a third town, Verulamium. This town was occupied mainly by the Catubalorni people, traditional enemies of the Trinovantes, and also more Romanized than many other native tribes. Verulamium, as well as other smaller native settlements in the surrounding countryside, met the same fate. At that point, around 80,000 people were killed by our troops. Meanwhile, Suetonius regrouped his forces. He amassed an army of almost 10,000 men at an unidentified location, and took a stand in a defile with a wood behind. The Romans used the terrain to their advantage, launching javelins at the Britons before advancing in a wedge-shaped formation and deploying cavalry. By the time Suetonius engaged us in a battle, the Brits had numbered 230,000, and we did not have a single doubt that our goddess was to lead us to a complete victory over our enemies. However, that was not meant to be. Taking advantage of our being poorly equipped, and the Roman army being more organized, Suetonius defeated us. Brave warriors, my fellow champions of freedom, the time has come for my journey to take a different path. We have fought side by side, bled together, and carved our defiance into the annals of history. Remember that our struggle was not in vain, for we have shown the world that the spirit of Britannia cannot be subdued by the chains of oppression. Continue the fight, my dear ones. Let not the fires of rebellion wane, but let them roar into an unquenchable inferno that lights the way for generations to come. You are the heart and soul of Britannia, the fierce defenders of its spirit. Remember me not with tears, but with the clash of swords against shields, with the pounding of hooves and the cries of victory. Let my legacy be the fire that burns within you, the unwavering conviction that even in the darkest of times, the light of freedom can never be extinguished.